Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of Coach Caris podcast. It is I, Coach Caris, Itchy Bitchy, and guests. I'm going to get straight into it today. I have just watched twice, actually. I watched it last night and I watched it again this morning on the Joe Wicks. Oh my word, I don't even know what to call it, programme. Let's just call it a programme. The Joe Wicks programme. And it's about, if you've not seen it, I think you've probably been living in a big black hole, but it's about protein bars and ultra processed food. And more specifically, it's about ultra processed food that are marketed as health products. Yeah? So, it's about dressing up food that is filled with shite, basically. It's filled with gels and powders and not really any actual food, so nothing that you would find in a domestic kitchen, and then they're marketed as health products or health food or the healthy choice. Anyway, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it, and I have a feeling that it's going to lead me down a couple of rabbit holes and a couple of tangents, because watching a programme for an hour, there's so many tangents that you could go off on. So anyway, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you some scientific evidence, and I'm just going to chat about it, really. So the first thing I want you to remember is that a lot of the time when there is chat on the socials or on programmes, right, about good and bad, whether it's food or whatever, right, that I want you to remember that the risk usually lies in the dose. It doesn't necessarily lie in the product. And I'm a massive believer in this one. As usual, which is usually the case, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. And the last thing I want you to remember is, if you're watching a television programme that has been commissioned by the person on the programme or in the programme, very rarely will it be unbiased. I want you to remember that. Yeah. So, firstly, my personal opinion on Joe Wicks. It's never actually bothered me that much. He did a lot of good in COVID sorry, I've just broke my pen. He did a lot of good in COVID, keeping people moving, keeping kids moving, and for that I can't ever fault him. The second thing is, I was actually quite surprised how he came across on the programme, as I genuinely thought, this is why you should actually just never assume, and you should actually watch stuff or listen to stuff or educate yourself to back up your theory. I genuinely thought he was going to tout himself out as a nutrition specialist when he's not, and he didn't do that. So hats off to Joe Wicks. Hats off to Joe Wicks again, because I absolutely get what he's trying to do. I'm not convinced he's went about it the right way, but I'm absolutely behind the fact that he's trying to call the government out on introducing better food warnings, health warnings, but I do not agree with his theory that it is entirely the government's responsibility to ensure that we eat healthy. Absolutely not. I don't believe it's just not one person's or one. The government's not a person, you know what I mean. Anyway, right, here's my chat. Right, sorry, I want the government to take accountability and help us to eat better. Yeah, that would be absolutely nice, but we also have a responsibility to ourselves, and it's up to us really to educate ourselves. So just going to go through a couple of things that he said, right? So he starts off with saying, why is it so hard to stop eating these foods? Right now, these foods that he's speaking about is not necessarily the ultra processed foods that are marketed as health products. At the beginning of the programme, he's eating beef hula hoops. Cal is quite partial to a beef hula hoop. he's eating some chocolate, some other crisps, he's eating Doritos and stuff like that, right? So these are all ultra-processed foods. He's some fair points, I would say, right? Why is it so hard to stop eating these foods? It is so hard to stop eating these foods, and these foods are so tasty because the companies that produce these food spend millions, trillions, squillions, right? Millions of pounds on market research. They spend millions of pounds in the supermarkets on product placement. They spend millions of pounds on psychology, finding out what makes us buy stuff. What colour of packaging do we lean more towards? So there was a thing on it about a Cocoa Pops bar thing, not a protein bar, but like a breakfast bar. And the packaging is in an orange colour because we believe, or like a beigey orangey colour, because humans believe that that's a healthier colour. They put little signs on the packaging of little grains, like a wheat sheaf, because again, psychologically, we feel that if we're looking at that box, that we're more likely to pick the product up, because if it's got that label on it, or if it's got that picture on it, that we perceive it as a healthier option. I'll tell you what, I did nearly fall away at. In those little bars, there's actually 28 grams of sugar. You'd be as well feeding your bairns a Mars bar for their breakfast, all right? So just be super, super careful. And I get what he's saying about he wants better packaging and more health warnings on the packaging. I absolutely get that, right? But most adults can read, and it is really up to ourselves to read the labels as well. Do you know, it's not, if you flick the back of if you look at the ingredients lists and there's like 34 ingredients in a tiny little bar, then that should probably tell you that most of that is not actual real food. So it is our responsibility as well. A couple of other things he said, right? His family was in benefits when he's grown up and he had no access to healthy foods, right? So as far as I'm concerned, that is actually the problem. So more so than ultra processed food being marketed as health products is the fact that actual real food, fruit and veggies and stuff, are absolutely bloody extortionate. And that, for me, bringing the cost of those down. And again, I'm not in the government, I haven't even thought about this, so I don't even know how to do it, but would be more beneficial than picking one product and making a whole programme about it. It's about educating people on healthy choices, but also making sure that those healthy choices, that everybody has access to them, regardless of their income, etc. I'm not saying they should be free, obviously, but we all know that you can go into certain frozen food shops and buy, I don't know, 3 packets of mini KFs for £1 when it would literally cost you about 80 pence for an apple. So yeah, I do get it. So I think making healthy foods and actual real food more accessible to everybody is a way better thing to be going down. Another thing he said is, I want to be a good role model. I get that as well. We all want to be good role models. You never know who you're inspiring, but coming away with extreme behaviour like this programme, I would suggest, is not a good way to be a good role model. And I would also question what he's not telling us about why he's doing it. It came across, for the two of them actually, I don't think the other guy, Chris Van Tulican, I don't think he should get away scot-free, and I don't think that if you've got a negative opinion of Joe Wicks or what he's doing, it wasn't just his programme. Yeah, he's marketing and yeah, he's selling with his face on it the actual protein bar, but I also think the other guy has a lot to answer for, and at the very least, he was actually probably more extreme than Joe Wicks's statements were, and that doesn't sit particularly well with me neither. So I would question again why he's doing it, and are they just trying to get themselves, I mean, do they feel not relevant? Is this what they're trying to do? Is it actually all about their businesses and their relevance? I don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm being a bit of a skeptic. So again, he said there was a lot of things that were true that came out of it, right? So 60% of an average humans' diet is based on ultra-processed food. That's actually quite shocking, right? And on lower income, it's 80%. Again, that's quite shocking. And again, they haven't actually backed this up. They have said a lot of stuff, but they haven't actually cited any actual research or any actual scientific evidence. So there's been no papers cited. So I'm not actually sure if what they're saying is 100% true. But if it's 60% of an average human's diet is based on ultra-processed food, then yes, we have a massive problem. UPF, by the way, if you hear about that, is ultra-processed food, and it pretty much means stuff that's been tinkered with a lot. Didn't get hung up on processed food, right? Ready meals are processed food, but they still have real food in them, like they've got real chicken and real tatties and stuff like that. They will have a lot of additives, they'll have emulsifiers, etc. But they have got real food in them. We're speaking here about specifically protein bars that are marketed as a health product. So the protein bar that Joe Wicks made has got something like over 200 claims of health benefits. Again, that's actually outrageous. But it's got 27 vitamins and minerals in it, so why would you not buy it? This is the problem that he's speaking about. So ultra-processed food contributes towards heart disease, lifestyle cancers, and type 2 diabetes and obesity. This is true, right? This is Joe Wicks that cites that, and this is true. There is scientific evidence. And we all know, well, maybe you don't know, but type 2 diabetes is caused purely by lifestyle, right? However, you're not going to die if you're eating a protein bar. That's the bottom line, and that's probably my biggest issue with the programme, is it's very extreme, and there's no mention until the last 2 minutes about balance and moderation, right? Balance and moderation is absolutely the answer to life, to health, to fitness, to nutrition, absolutely 100%. But there's no mention of that through the whole programme, and it's very heavy on the scaremongering. According to Chris Van Tuliken, if you eat a protein bar, you're going to die, which I think is pretty, I'm sure a lot of you agree with that, it's pretty extreme, all right? So just to clarify, ultra-processed foods, they do cause heart disease, they do cause lifestyle cancers, they do cause type 2 diabetes, and they do cause obesity if you consistently overeat ultra-processed food. Consistently overeat ultra-processed food. I cannot get that statement across enough to you. If you eat a protein bar, you will be fine. If you eat a protein bar 2 or 3 times a week, you'll be fine. If you eat a takeaway, it's highly processed food, you'll be fine. Yeah? If you drink a slushy, they also get a mention, sorry, you will be fine. It's not, like I said at the beginning, it's not necessarily the product, it's the dose that's the problem. All right. So the whole point of Joe Wicks doing this is he wants the government to take accountability to help us eat better. Agree. 100% agree. Still not convinced he's going about it the right way, but it's also our responsibility, right? Whatever actions we take as adults, and I'm going to sound patronising here, there is always consequences. And if you put the responsibility on somebody else to sort out your health, your fitness and your nutrition, then you are waiting on that something else, the government, to fix your health, your nutrition and your fitness. And ultimately, as an adult, it is our responsibility. So yes, by all means, join in all the propaganda, do what you need to do, whatever you can do to get the government to listen if that's what you believe, but you also need to take responsibility. Anyway, Chris Van Tuliken, didn't even get me started on him. Again, he says, do you know, I'm well aware that I think I'm actually just going to contradict myself consistently through this programme because there was nothing conclusive. And I did go into the programme thinking, what a pile of shite this is going to be. Do I still think that at the end? Yes, it comes back to what I said at the beginning. If you're going to watch a programme on the television that is commissioned by the guy that is starring in said programme, and it's about something like this, it's never going to be unbiased. So I went into that programme with biases. I tried very hard to be unbiased as I was watching the programme and as I was scribbling the notes. So this Chris Van Tuliken guy, right, he is a doctor, he is a health specialist, he works with the World Health Organization, right, and what he said is UPF's ultra-processed food is optimised for maximum consumption. This is very true, right, and this is because this goes back to what I said earlier about the marketing and the amount of money that these companies spend on marketing and psychology. They are companies, they are there to make maximum profits for their shareholders or for themselves. But that is why they have started a company, right? They are not a charity. They are not a not-for-profit organisation. They are there to make money. Absolutely, 100%. Do they have our health at the top of their list? No, they do not. They have money at the top of their list. And that is what everybody, I think we need to remember that more often. I run a business, right? Yes, I will do no harm. I will intentionally do no harm. I will intentionally never missell something. But the bottom line is, I am a saleswoman to make money. 100%. 100%. I'm just lucky, or I've just worked very hard at being able to do that in something that I fully believe in and I can make a difference to people's life. But ultimately, we all need money to live. Admittedly, the companies are like, they've got ridiculous amounts of money, but they also spend ridiculous amounts of money on marketing and psychology, etc., to make profit. So he is absolutely correct when he says ultra-processed food is optimised for maximum consumption by humans. Of course it is, absolutely. Again, it becomes it's a bit sketchy with the evidence. So he says, and I quote unquote, loads of quite good evidence that they damage health. Loads of quite good evidence is not evidence. That's just a statement that somebody said, right? And there is, I'm going to give you a classic example here, right? So the aspartame, right, which is a sweetener, right, it gets a mention in the programme, right? The research on the risk of aspartame, right, is non-conclusive. That means there's a little bit of evidence that it gets classed as a potential risk if you're above the dose, right? So if you're an average woman, average man, right, and you drank 26 cans of Pepsi Max, 26 cans, right, in a one sitting, 26 cans of Pepsi Max, you would be above the limit. If you eat a protein bar, you're going to be okay. All right, so that is basically the evidence. So this, when he says loads of quite good evidence, I want you to remember this statement as well. Aspartame, the sweetener, is non-conclusive. There is enough evidence to class it as a potential risk if you go over the dose, and that is the same with a lot of the stuff that he is speaking about in the programme as well, all right? And again, it comes back to the dose. I can't say this enough, all right? I'll give you an example. If you've got a headache, you'll take paracetamol, right? You know that if you go over the dose of paracetamol, it's dangerous. Yeah, I don't think, do I need to hammer that point home anymore? No, I don't think so. I don't think I need to hammer that point, all right? So anyway, be wary of what people even with qualifications, he is a doctor, he's a medical person, etc., right? But loads of quite good evidence, that's just scaremongering. Also, some of the stuff that he's speaking about, carboxymethylcellulose, right? He mentions that it's in bread, or Joe Wicks mentions that it's in bread and that it's in coconut milk. It is in both of these things, right? And it binds liquids to solids, basically. So, are you going to die if you eat a bread? No. Are you going to die if you eat a tin of coconut milk? No, of course you're not. It's about the dose. And I've no idea how much bread you would actually have to eat to be over the dose that becomes unmanageable or that you're going to die. But again, there's scaremongering going on and there's not any real chat about balance and moderation, which is really, really, really frustrating. So anyway, my question to them are they classing bread and coconut milk as ultra processed food? Because if they are, then we need to get into context with balance and moderation. Again, lots more fair points, right? There's no warning on labels on food. I get that. There probably should be more. We have the traffic light system. It's voluntary. I actually didn't know that. Found that out last night on that programme. Right, the traffic light system that you get for the red, green and amber is voluntary. So, should there be more health warnings on food? Possibly. Yeah. Again, are they going about it the right way? Not very sure. Right. Again, health halo was mentioned. Health halo is a word that we use in the fitness and nutrition industry, and it's about something that, like, you want to polish your halo, that you believe is actually healthy because of all the propaganda and all the marketing, and it's actually not. Are protein bars healthy? No, of course they're not. They're filled with, I can't remember, I think one make, I can't remember what make, has 170 health benefit claims. That's actually ridiculous. And there's about 30 odd ingredients in each one. So no, they're not healthy. Are they convenient? 100%. Does it make you feel better when you come out the gym and you eat a protein bar with maybe 3 grams of sugar as opposed to a Mars bar with 24 grams of sugar? Yeah, it's going to make you it's going to make you feel smug as fuck. Of course it is. Is it going to tide you over and stop you ramming something into your gob that you don't want it until your next meal? Yes, probably. Are you going to die from doing that? No, you're not, providing you have balance and moderation. So I need you to just think about what works for you. And we all know, if you listen to me bang on about it enough, all right, that 80% of whole unprocessed food in your diet, 20% for the tasty stuff. And by the tasty stuff, I mean processed food, highly processed food, ultra processed food, on the odd occasion, will do you no harm, all right? The protein snack market is absolutely massive, because people buy into the health halo effect. People buy in due to all the marketing, due to the influencers as well, right? So Chris Van Tuliken says the influencers that are promoting these products aren't actually to blame. I disagree with that. If you're going to sell your soul for a check, you need to take some responsibility. Absolutely 100%. So, anyway, that's pretty much my chat. Do I agree with what he's trying to do? Yes, I do. Do I think he's going about it the right way? No, I do not. And again, it's about... I would question the two of them, the Chris Van Tuliken guy as well, right? And I'm going to give you another quote. So Joe Wicks was having a wobble about whether to actually make this product and sell it. So what he was thinking was he was going to do all the research, he was going to show it on the television programme, show this product with a list of ingredients, with all the damage that it can do if you eat 10,000 of them, by the way, not one, right? And then not put it to market because he was having a bit of a wobble about selling these bars to the human population, right? Based on the fact that he was saying they can cause damage. You will probably not have any damage from eating one of those things unless you're actually allergic to one of the products, all right? But anyway, they were sitting outside, so Chris Van Tuliken was saying back to Joe Wicks, do you know, I am with you, I am in front of you, I am behind you, I am by your side through all of this, but if you don't put this to market and if you treat this experiment as a thought experiment, so just thinking about doing it, not actually selling it to market, you'll just be doing what I've been doing for 10 years, and I guarantee that nothing will happen. That makes me question whether Chris Van Tuliken is actually relevant or whether he's trying to be relevant and promote himself. Again, throughout the programme, I felt that Joe Wicks came across as the puppet and Chris Van Tuliken came across as the puppet master. Now, I might be very wrong here. I can't be wrong because it's my opinion. So I can't be wrong, but that's my opinion. I felt that he was pretty much winding up Joe Wicks from the back and just letting him go. So anyway, that's my thoughts. The final thing I want to finish with is just back to what Joe Wicks was saying and what he's trying to do, right? At the very least, he has actually put himself out there, because I've no doubt that he's getting pelters. I've seen some of his social media and he is getting pelters. He's got a lot of support, but he's getting pelters as well, right? And that's a brave move, definitely. If you're anybody that puts themselves out on social media and is prepared to take pelters, because we've all got an opinion, let's face it. And I dare say that some of the comments have probably been quite nasty. So he does get my vote for that. I understand what he's doing. He wants to get the government to take accountability to help us eat better. I absolutely get that. But I do want to remind you all that we are all adults, and it is ultimately our responsibility to educate ourselves and to cut through the propaganda, and at the very least realise that people that sell products, whether it's an influencer on social media or whether it's an actual company, are in it for profit. Very rarely will you find somebody that is selling something to not make money. So, sorry, also I just want to say as well that Joe Wicks, there was an overlay of a woman speaking saying that Joe Wicks has given all profits to charities that promote healthy eating. Again, I would actually like to know what and where those charities are, just out of curiosity. So, actions always have consequences, my lovelies. If your diet is filled with 60% of ultra-processed food, or there's anything that's not balanced in your diet, please go away and educate yourself. Please go and accept responsibility. And please remember, if you're ever struggling with anything to do with nutrition, fat loss, fitness, health, my inbox on my socials, Coach Caris, Facebook and Instagram, right? My inbox is always open. My chat is always free. Despite the fact that I sat here earlier and said I am selling a service for profit, as we all are, right? My chat on my inbox is always free. I would never see anybody stuck. So if you've got any questions, please just ping me a message. Anyway, that is my chat, basically. Yeah, I resisted going down the rabbit hole of the government. Don't even get me started on the government. That's a whole other podcast, probably. So, my lovelies, it leaves me. I'm going to leave you here with thoughts on Joe Wicks. If you've not watched it, please go and watch it. Please try and have an unbiased opinion. And when you are watching it, remember what confirmation bias is. Confirmation bias is you Googling something or watching something and only hearing the stuff that backs up what you already think. So, for example, if you believe protein bars are amazing, when you Google protein bars or the health benefits of protein bars, you will only remember the health benefits. You will absolutely forget about all the bad stuff. So you will totally ignore the fact that there's 36 ingredients in it, that it's filled with nothing that resembles even real food, but you will remember that there's 27 vitamins and minerals in it, so why would you not eat it? All right, confirmation bias, my lovelies. Do your research, be awesome, don't get sucked in with the hype, don't listen to the fucking bullshit, and have a top day. Bye.